Football season never stops, and the NFL draft is right around the corner. USC has some NFL hopefuls, and to look where these players are expected to go, we brought in Pac-12 Network host Mike Gam. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. You're right. The season is never over because we're always talking football no matter what.
Especially at USC, the news never stops.
Yes, because there's usually some pretty talented players that are rocking the USC uniforms.
Well, speaking of talent, let's start at the top. Sua Cravens, junior linebacker. He's going to linebacker safety hybrid. Where do you expect him to go this year?
You know, it's funny because you mentioned that hybrid description for Sua Cravens, which is really accurate. We've seen him play, obviously, the linebacker spot, also at the safety spot. The measurables, some people consistently will call him a little bit of a tweener there. I think he finds a home in terms of an NFL scheme in that 4-3. You're probably talking about him as an outside linebacker. He's a 3-4 defense, more or less a strong safety, but I think the versatility is something that's going to be really appealing for a lot of NFL teams. That's one of the things that they're going to key in on. So at least in my mind, Sua Cravens, I think you got the range at 1 through 3, which I think is fair. I think first round it'd be really on that cusp for the second round, but I think more than likely you'll see him on round number 2.
He definitely seems to be that sort of Cam Chancellor,
for
Buchanan safety hybrid role.
And we saw Dan Buchanan a couple years ago at Washington State, a vicious hitter. But I think the one key component, at least when you try to analyze Sua Cravens, the instincts on the football field. If he goes to a place that allows him to sort of roam, to me, that strong safety spot, I think, really fits into his skill set specifically. But you're right, that Dayon Buchanan comparison to me is a really good one.
So let's move to the other side of the ball on offense. Quarterback for USC, he had a lot of high expectations last year, sort of fell short of those. Where do you expect Cody to go in the draft this year?
You know, it's funny because I think the expectation level put him in that Heisman consideration. I remember talking to him at Media Day and trying to fight through these things. Let's keep in mind, I think the same goes for Sua Cravens as well. When you're the leader of defense, and at least in Cody's case, the leader of an offense, at least nationally speaking, when you're the quarterback at USC, you're going to get a lot of attention. There was Heisman talk for him. I think when you look at the measurables, you look at maybe the win-loss total, that will say one part of the story, but I think the true narrative is really his leadership ability, right? What was he able to do on the football field to go through numerous coaching changes, Lane Kiffin, Ed O, Clay Helton, back to Clay Helton, Sark in between, to be the guy that was the focal point of all that attention and really manage things as well as he did, I think is a notch in his belt for NFL teams that are sort of evaluating him. And then you think about all the great quarterbacks that used to wear a USC uniform and really thrived, Heisman winners, a guy like Matt Leinart, guys who've had success obviously at the NFL level. Carson Palmer comes to mind. Mark Sanchez, another guy. Cody's numbers, I mean, completion percentage higher than anyone that's ever played the quarterback spot at USC. That speaks volumes. And the guy doesn't turn the ball over. Interception rate was fairly low. If I'm not mistaken, it was probably the best interception rate for any USC quarterback. So in my mind, I think there's a lot of things that Cody Kessler can do on an NFL team. In terms of where he's projected to go, you have him as a 5th or 6th. I think that's fair. But in my mind, maybe the best route for him is to not get drafted and be able to sign as a free agent.
Yeah, whenever you talk to him, he always mentions the adversity he had to go through and how it brought him stronger.
That's not easy. You know, that's kind of a crazy thing. Here in Los Angeles, people are talking about Jared Goff as the #1 pick compared to a guy like Carson Wentz. I mean, think about it this way. Wentz is a guy that really hasn't been outside of North Dakota State, hasn't seen the limelight. Now you come to Los Angeles where eyeballs are going to be on you. In my mind, I think that's why a guy like Jared Goff would be a better fit.
Exactly. And for our third player, let's take a look at Antoine Woods, big defensive tackle, monster in the middle, sort of anchored that defensive line for USC. What do you see from Antoine?
This number right here, that 318 at 6 feet tall, that low center of gravity, you know, you look at what he was able to do, and an accomplished player on a line where he just had a knack to getting after the quarterback. And to me, you know, I don't know how much of a star he's going to be at the NFL level, but I do think he can be really help be one of those consistent chips on a defensive line. So in my mind, you look at Woods, you look at the skill set. I don't know if he's actually going to be a guy that's going to be drafted, but like Cody Kessler, I think if he's able to sign on as an undrafted free agent, I think that's actually better for Woods. You look at what the measurables were, and it was hard because some of his combine results got null and void because of the injury with the pectoral muscle and obviously getting hurt with the hammy at his pro day. To me, Woods, though, is a guy, high character guy. I think also in the same mold as Cody and Sua Cravens in terms of that leadership. People around the NFL that you talk to will always tell you interviews off the charts. I'm sure you guys have had opportunity to speak with him. One of the nicest kids, not going to be a problem. To me, more likely an undrafted free agent, but at 6 feet, 318 pounds, just an absolute monster for teams.
A guy at the D-line on that size, obviously not being able to bench at the combine or the pro day was definitely hurt him and show off his strength. But, I mean, he's one of the anchors of the USC defense, and he definitely has a chance to contribute at least somewhere in the NFL level.
And it helps that he played at USC, and he has a skill set that obviously he was able to thrive in. So, to me, I'm with you. I think he can have a really long career in the NFL.
That's all the time we got. The draft starts Thursday with the first round and continues through the weekend with rounds 2 through 7. USC hopes to have as many as 5 players drafted, but could have as few as only 1 or 2. But for more on a team that hopes to get some more recognition, let's go to Randall Newsom.